You're watching Local News 8 at noon. Local people, local news.
When the state of Idaho has to tax people on their food, what they have to eat every day, in order to make ends meet, then the state's just spending too much money.
Two state representatives are taking action after the governor's decision to veto a bill that would repeal the state's grocery tax. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. Representative Ron Nate of Rexburg and Brian Zollinger of Idaho Falls have threatened to file a lawsuit because of this most recent decision.
Both of them claim the governor's decision to veto the tax repeal is unconstitutional. Now, this is because of the deadline to veto it. The representatives say Governor Otter's deadline was 10 days after they adjourned, not including Sundays. This would have made the deadline Monday. The governor vetoed the bill yesterday, which is why they believe the grocery tax repeal should go into law.
In this case, and in our case, the governor did neither. We agree. The Constitution is clear on this matter. Therefore, we urge the Secretary of State to honor his oath of office, to uphold the Constitution of the state of Idaho, and therefore certify House Bill 67 as amended.
And we reached out to the governor's office, and they just responded just a few moments ago.
Yeah, and I should mention, I was at this press conference earlier today, and they did cite this Idaho Supreme Court decision, Santa Rosa v. Andrus, and this is what the governor's office has also cited in their response. They say, we conclude the governor has 10 full days from the date of presentment in which to consider bills presented to him after adjournment of the Idaho legislature. So the real concern here is figuring out what that 10-day leeway is. The representatives here saying it's 10 days from sine die, and the governor's office saying that's not true. It's when it gets into the hands of the governor. So we'll continue to follow this and let you know of any developments as we get them.
All right, let's check in with meteorologist Chris Bruin on a beautiful sunny day. He's been promising this, Allison, for a few days.
Finally fulfilled his promise.
We appreciate that.
We've been waiting a long time.
Hey, y'all are picky here. So.
You know what? We're tough to please, and
I'm
that's
just happy that we're all in agreement. Today is beautiful. Redfish Lake looking great. Just a few cumulus clouds looking beautiful here and warming up. Again, we're starting to melt some of the ice out on the lake, so summer not too far away. And from there, we'll head to Pocatello atop our first alert Farm Bureau sky cam. Mostly sunny skies at this hour, and temperatures were just a couple of degrees away from that 60-degree mark. And again, it's only the early half of your afternoon. We're headed well into the 60s, so definitely be sure to get out there and soak up some of the sun today. Quiet conditions out ahead of a storm system. Right now it's hanging along the coast, but it will move in as we head towards the next 24-36 hours. And we're going to, of course, have more details on the rain headed our way for the end of the week. But for now, let's just enjoy the Wednesday weather. We're seeing wonderful afternoon, 60s and upper 50s here for the high country with quite a bit of sunshine and a little bit of a breeze. Your full forecast right around the corner for now. Guys, take it away.
Thanks, Chris. A rape case in Twin Falls almost 1 year ago caught the attention all over the world. Many blogs even picked up the story with some incorrect information. Natalie
Hurst spoke to the people at the center of the case to find out how they're working to move forward.
It's a big day for Twin Falls, a groundbreaking for a $6.5 million renovation to this 5-block stretch of Main Avenue. A welcome sight in what has been a long year for many in the community. Last June, the city found itself in the national headlines when 3 boys assaulted a young girl in a laundry room at the Fawnbrook Apartments.
It was difficult to have those conversations, and truthfully, it was difficult to get residents to sort of step up and say, no, that's not us. Because you were trying to avoid the controversy. I think that's human nature.
Mayor Sean Barragar says the national media coverage quickly turned to the boys' national origin and religion, and 24 residents became regulars at City Hall meetings, worried about refugee resettlement in Twin Falls.
So I think the biggest challenge of the last year of sort of being thrust into that spotlight is, to many outsiders, it was all about something new that was happening in Twin Falls. And my frustration is we've had refugee resettlement going on in Twin Falls since the 1980s.
He estimates roughly 200 to 300 refugees per year. Some residents tell us the images printed across headlines don't reflect the community's broader picture.
Some of it seemed to have been an extreme overreaction to what happened. Not to belittle what happened, but it did seem like it was being used for ulterior purposes.
This case has basically been going on for about a year now. Legal motions taking place at this county courthouse behind me. All of it sealed, which the county prosecutor says has led to a lot of misinformation about the case.
It's always a challenge to handle a case which gets this kind of publicity. The bigger challenge is
Prosecutor Grant Loeb says the reality was those who know the most about the case aren't legally allowed to speak about it.
It's a serious case, which the Twin Falls Police handled as a serious case from the beginning. My office handled it as a serious case from the beginning.
Last June, we spoke with a Fawnbrook Apartments resident named Grandma Joe, who witnessed the assault.
I said to him, "I'm sorry, what are you doing?" And he said, "Oh, just taking pictures." And I said, "Well, haven't you seen a wash machine and dryer before? Because that's what I thought you were doing."
Today, residents at Fawnbrook tell us the incident has united the neighborhood, and they've learned to look out for one another. How's the community feeling here at Fawnbrook?
Lately, it's been pretty okay. Everybody's getting along. Everything's moved on from everybody.
But it's a far different story for the parents of the little girl who was assaulted.
She was actually humiliated in various ways, including with urine, and she's traumatized. She is withdrawn. Her parents tell me she's much more reclusive and unhappy and scared.
Attorney Mark Gary represents parents Lacey and Levi Peterson and says they're satisfied with the felony plea deal for all three boys.
However, to say that this is a happy ending to the case, wouldn't be accurate. Obviously, we still have the sentencing phase, and quite frankly, we want to see the harshest sentence possible imposed.
As for city officials, the mayor says it's time for Twin Falls to move on.
Are there concerns about terrorism? Yes. Are there fears about the refugee resettlement program? Yes. Are there terrible things happening in the world? Absolutely. Will us not having a refugee resettlement program solve any of those? Not at all.
A Twin Falls police officer is being charged with lewd conduct with a minor, and the events that led up to the charge started before he was a member of the police department. The victim reported William Jansen for abuse earlier this year for something that happened back in 2008 and 2009. He was booked in the Twin Falls County Jail on Monday, but was able to leave on $100,000 bond. According to court documents, there are more victims. Jansen joined the department in 2013, and he's denying all the claims. The Twin Falls County prosecutor believes there could be even more victims than the ones they've discovered. Jansen will appear again in court later this month.
We have an update on an investigation into sexual harassment claims against employees at Yellowstone National Park. Federal investigators said they have found evidence that shows male supervisors and maintenance staff made unwelcome and inappropriate actions and comments to women. This investigation started last September. Investigators interviewed more than 100 current and former park employees, and most of the employees said that they did not experience or notice any sexual harassment. But the report says 6 women were victims of derogatory comments and actions that made them feel uncomfortable.
The Pocatello City Council wants to know what you think about driving on Yellowstone. It's one of the busiest sections of road in the Pocatello-Chubbuck area. And with increased traffic at intersections and the number of crashes going up, officials are looking for solutions. Most of the work would include adding medians, various turn lanes, and traffic signals. But in order to do this, they want to know what your experience is on Yellowstone.
We know we all want to drive in Yellowstone, but do we want to put all our emphasis there, or do we want to look at alternate routes so that there'll be less vehicles, except for trying to address them? So I think that was the biggest balance, is do we address them or try to shift them to a different way?
If you'd like to share your thoughts, you can head on over to our website, localnews8.com, and we have the instructions on how to do just that.
Governor Butch Otter is allowing a nearly $320 million transportation funding plan to become law. The plan will mostly use bonds to pay for new road projects and repay it with future federal highway payments. It also funnels 1% of the state's sales tax revenue to fund other road projects. The governor says there is too much risk in continuing to ignore the state's crumbling roads and bridges. Otter previously opposed using sales tax dollars for road projects, arguing that transportation funds should not compete with education priorities.
A Jackson, Wyoming company is moving to Idaho Falls, and the company believes it's going to bring in lots of jobs. The new home of Wheelhouse Incorporated will be just off of Highway 26 on Telford Road. Local News 8's Chris Oswald explains crews have already started the process of building some of those tiny homes.
Now an empty field passed by thousands of cars daily, these 50 acres will soon be home to Wheelhouse Incorporated.
We're excited about growing and expanding there.
The Jackson, Wyoming company announcing it's moving all operations to Bonneville County, demanded the Rocky Mountain region a driving force for crossing state lines.
A lot of people talk about whether it's a trend, and You know, we really don't think it's a trend at all.
A number of factors went into the decision to relocate. One of them, the harsh winter, hard for anyone to forget.
It's hard to build for the winter, and so by building them off-site and in a factory building, you know, we can, you know, build over the winter, we can store them, and then we can deliver them and have them ready for sale.
Construction on the new Bonneville County facilities is likely to begin in the relatively near future. Once complete, out-of-work Idahoans could soon be getting a paycheck.
We look forward to expanding the operations there and creating a lot of jobs.
The company that started in 2011 thinks the move will be best for business and for those looking to go small.
It's a movement of people really realizing that they can live with less and live large with less.
Now, Wheelhouse says they expect to have things up and running sometime this summer. Now, Wheelhouse also owns Fireside Resort in Jackson. The vice president says it still will remain there, allowing them to do business in the city and provide customers with a test before you buy option.
Still to come on Local News 8 at noon, tensions are still high between Russia and the U.S. as the Secretary of State meets with top leaders. Plus, South Korea is preparing for possible attacks from the north. Find out some of their concerns later in this newscast.
And a beautiful day to take your plane out for a little joyride. A lot of sunshine, a few clouds. Wind's still pretty light, but they'll pick up a little bit this afternoon. We got a storm on the way. We're going to talk about what that means for your Easter weekend and beyond coming up after the break.
You're watching